Welcome back everyone for another episode of my Borussia M'Gladbach career on FIFA 15. In the last episode, we kicked off this season's Champions League campaign in the group stages away from home against Club Brugge. We did beat them 2-1 in a very tight affair of a game. We even had Jetro Willems get sent off in that game. Went down to 10 men, but we still came out on top. We showed our resilience and we picked up our first 3 points in the groups. We continue that campaign a bit later on in this episode against Ajax. But first, Mönchengladbach had to focus on their next fixture in the Bundesliga against Werder Bremen. This game was the perfect game for Junuzovic to start in. It was his former club, Werder Bremen, but as you know, he picked up that broken toe a bit earlier in the season, which would see him out for 2 months. So it was just so annoying that I couldn't pick him for this game because he relishes this. I remember last season when he came up against his old club, he just let loose. I think he even scored in that game, probably one of the winners, I think, against Werder Bremen. So he was missed for this game. But we had Aslan starting in place of him, Thiago and also De Jong in central midfield. So it was all good. We had it covered. We had a free kick awarded us with just 20 minutes gone. 29 yards out. Thiago was to take and it just goes sailing over. I thought I had the angle and everything right, and it was almost on target, almost got the keeper working, but he was rooted to the spot. He wasn't going anywhere. I think if I did have it on target, I think it would have gone in and it would have been something special. But Werder Bremen came close to opening up the scoring in the second half, but Tim Krul, fully stretched, stuck out his hand and saved that one and stopped it from going in. But look how close they come again from scoring it. And Tim Krul, he's just like a wall in front of that goal. Werder Bremen, they were finding it hard to put anything past him. I came up with this opportunity here with Raphael, and I thought, let's just drill that across the front of goal and hope it finds the bottom left-hand corner. It just goes over into the crowd. Well, it hits the support there, just in front of the crowd. The game ended 0-0. Very disappointing result, but it was another tight affair like that game against Club Brugge in the last episode. But you can see the news headline here: delight over Krul. The fans are loving it at the moment, and the way Krul is playing, I'm definitely going to be picking him over the top of Sommer. Sommer had a very poor start to the season, conceding poor goals. So I've dropped him to the bench, and I'm just going to work with Krul for the time being and see how we get on. There is the league table as it stands after that game against Werder Bremen. We are in second. We won 5, we drew 1 and lost 1. We're just a point behind Hoffenheim, the league leaders. We've had a pretty positive start to the season. I'm pretty happy. It's probably been the better starts that I've had compared to the last 2 seasons. And moving on to match day 8, we had to have our wits about us in this game away from home against Hertha Berlin. As you saw in the league table, they're doing pretty well as well. They're up in 4th, they're 2 points behind us. A win here for Hertha Berlin would see them leapfrog us and go up into the top 3. So we couldn't afford to drop any points here. I was adamant that I wanted to get 3 points from this game. It was possible because we've had a pretty decent time coming up against Hertha Berlin in the past. Yes, it's always been tight away from home, especially when Solomon Kalou has been starting. Whenever he's got the ball, he's always been a threat for us. It doesn't matter from what range, he'll strike the ball and it'll always make my goalkeeper work for trying to keep onto either his clean sheet or onto a lead that we were defending. And as you can see here, with 14 minutes gone, Solomon Kalou keeping up with that trend of making a nuisance of himself against Mönchengladbach with that little half volley. He could have been in. It probably would have been a goal if it wasn't for Thiago blocking his passage of getting a shot on target and making Krul work. We moved the ball nicely to get up in the grill of our opponents. Max Kruse with a nice volley of his own on his left foot. Keeper standing in the way, saying no and turning the ball around the post. Now, just before half-time, there was one final attack to come from Hertha Berlin. Behrens displayed some great dribbling skills, pushed it onto Kalou. Kalou helped it on to Ben Hatra, and what an opportunity it was as he hit it first time. I do think though that the save was better than the shot itself. Tim Krul, amazing there, keeping himself all composed. He expected the ball to come in and he did a wonderful job of keeping the game at 0-0 going in at the break. But in the second half it would go 1-0 to Hertha Berlin in the 55th minute. It would be Ben Hatra getting the goal hit the ball off his head for the first time, hit the upright, and then on the rebound he was there with the open goal. Tim Krul, not too sure what he was doing, kind of let me down there to be honest, leaving the goal wide open. So 1-0 to Hertha Berlin. It stood, not long to go. We came close to getting an equaliser with that header from Traore, but when you look at it again, it was a poor header. His positioning of his body, it just wasn't right. He was never going to test their keeper from there with such inaccuracy from the header. It was a simple save for Kraft, straight off the training ground. We did have one final opportunity with seconds to go of the game. It was a proper back-to-the-wall performance from Hertha Berlin towards the last 10 minutes of this game, but we couldn't do anything from that set piece. It was a very lacklustre performance from Mönchengladbach as we went on to drop all 3 points in this game away from home. Bit disappointed with that result. Our next game was a big one. It was the second game of the Champions League group stages for this season. We were at home against Ajax, and I was thinking to myself at the time, we need to win this game. Not just because it would give us the 3 points and it would put us in a strong position in our group, but because I knew that we had to play Barcelona next in the group stage at the Nou Camp. And we all know how difficult it is travelling to the Nou Camp facing an informed Barcelona. So I wanted to get another 3 points on the board against Ajax here. And even if we are to go on to lose against Barcelona, I was going to say Bayern Munich then. If we are to go on to lose against Barca, then we don't have to worry too much about Ajax or Club Brugge catching us up or overtaking us. As you saw with the group stage, both Club Brugge and Ajax are on 0 points at the moment. Obviously, if Ajax went on to win this game on the second day of the group stage, then obviously they'd be able to close that gap. And if we do go on to lose against Barcelona then, and they beat Club Brugge, then the group is split wide open, making it a race then to qualify for the knockout stages. That could be our downfall. We could pile under that pressure. We could seriously slip up. Obviously, I don't want that happening, of course, but, you know, it could have an effect on our league form as well. I mean, we've just lost 1-0 against Hertha Berlin, and before that we drew 0-0 against Werder Bremen. So it could be a bit of a downfall there. So I had to make sure that we won this game against Ajax. It was so important, really, when you think about it. We were looking good, though, going forwards. We had a few good opportunities on goal, but their keeper was on fire. I mean, the amount of saves that he made, I wasn't really going to show them all. I was just going to show the important ones. But it would be Stocker with a very nice goal. Very tight angle of his on the finesse. Just beating the keeper for the first time in this game. Pretty much before the break, putting us in good stead come the second half. Now, Berahino, who would come on to replace Max Kruse, found Hazard there. He did get fouled, but I thought it was a nice bit of play from Hazard, how he took the ball around his man, and of course I go and give the ball away to Klaassen there from Berahino after taking the free kick nice and quickly. I just wanted to go and make it 2-0. Sommer, who I decided to play in the first team instead of Kroll. I wanted to give him a bit of a rest. Pulls off a fantastic save. The ball was destined for the back of the net from Zivkovic, but Sommer just said no, tipped that one wide for a corner, and with just 10 minutes to go, Ajax had one of the most important corners for them in this game, but it went straight into the hands of Sommer. As I dispatched the ball to Berahino, he was hounded. There was no way out for him. It was 3-on-1. They stole the ball. Zivkovic eventually found the back of the net for Ajax, putting them back on level terms. And what a finish it was. Sommer rooted to the spot, and that's just another example why I've decided to choose Krul over Sommer this season. He's made so many mistakes. He could have saved that, as it was straight in front of him. Could have just stuck out a hand or something. Very disappointing, but with just seconds to go, it would be Aslan again, scoring another important winner for Mönchengladbach. He did it on the opening day of the Bundesliga against Stuttgart. He's done it again now against Ajax. He is my game winner. Fantastic stuff. A good 3 points against Ajax. And with that, guys, I end it there for this episode. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.